And if you're interested in talking about that Centre for the Unemployed, why not go along to St Margaret's School in Galashiels tomorrow night at 8? And if you don't have a job, then they'd like to see you there a little earlier.
And the weather, sunny intervals and showers throughout the region, with winds coming from the southwest to start with, veering northwesterly later.
Thank you, Fiona. Until tomorrow, from all of us here in the studio, from our guest and from Fiona, good night.
Okay, are we clear the studio now, please?
Thank you all, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Another terrific show.
Marie, I think you're wonderful the way you keep it looking 29 years old.
Cardinal Newman said that life is change and to be perfect is to change often. And every single day is different working on the magazine programme.
Free! Free! Free!
Charlie? Are you later, please? And when I compare that to the 10 years of work in a factory, 10 years of simple drudgery, what sustained me were the movies that I'd seen during the previous evenings. But what kept me optimistic about the future was that I knew that somehow, sometime, I would be making movies myself. Of course, I had worked on lots of short film reports for Border TV, but they weren't movies. It wasn't until 1972 that I made Strange Company at the age of 34, not exactly a young genius of the cinema. And right now I've got an unfinished masterpiece, Stimmung, German for mood or atmosphere. And that springs directly out of my love for the German expressionist movies, which are my favourite kind of filmmaking. We shot that in 1980. We wanted to go to Berlin, but it wasn't possible. So we shot it in Kolbeck. In certain lights, at certain times of the year, Kolbeck looks just like Berlin. And we wanted Marlon Brando for the role of the magician, but he wasn't available. So I played that part myself. It still isn't finished. It's a characteristic, of course, of the romantic artist that he has unfinished works. And I went bust during it. Now I need about another £1,000 to get it completed. I wonder if my parents knew just how important the cinema was to me. They took me to church, of course, but really the Regal was my cathedral. I wanted my life to be like the movies I saw. No boring moments, no domestic trivia, action all the time. My love for the movies was total and uncritical. A night in the Regal was always good.
You're on your green flight ticket and we're going for any line. First number, 10, 1 and 5, 15, 6 and 4, 64. On its own, number 3, 2 and 3.
At 15, I moved across the road in a sense and began my 10-year career making biscuits at Cars of Carlisle, the birthplace of the biscuit industry. Sustained all the time, of course, by the movies. But it was when I was 16 that I saw the ultimate picture on the waterfront with Marlon Brando. It hit me like a diamond bullet right in the center of the forehead. I modeled myself on him. I dressed like him, walked like him, talked like Brando. People must have wondered what I was saying. Oh, Charlie, you don't understand. I could have had class. I could have been a contender. I could have been somebody instead of a bum, which is what I am, let's face it, Charlie. I've always imagined myself as the young Marlon Brando on the waterfront, but of course nobody stays that way forever. And now that he's about 20 stone, perhaps I really am becoming rather like him. The horror. The horror. It was, in a sense, almost humiliating when I was asked to play a role in the programme recently. Not as Robert Mitchum or Marlon Brando, but as Mr. Pickwick. And when I looked at it on playback, expecting to see something of a Brando-esque quality, I didn't. What I saw was W.C. Fields, but he's a seedy, alcoholic comedian. That can't be right. What would you like to drink, my dear?
Champagne, I guess.
Guess again. When I'm doing my day-to-day job as a presenter, I sometimes think that we're rather like the Poverty Row side of Hollywood. Monogram pictures, B-features, not exactly making epics, but having a good time. And we usually say to each other, now, if Roman Polanski was here, he'd make a better job of it than we could, but he'd only have 2 hours to do it. And if Ernest Hemingway was here, he'd make a better job of writing it, but he's dead. So with those limitations, we do the best we can and try to produce a little masterpiece.
I'll be around no matter how you treat me now. I'll be around from now on. Your latest love can never last, and when it's past, I'll be around when he's gone.
Being totally honest with myself, I suppose my character is big and possibly loud. And if I look back over all the movies that I've seen and enjoyed, I realise that the way I fill the screen now, literally and figuratively, is as much like the genie in The Thief of Baghdad as it's possible to be. A big, fat, green man. Yeah, I suppose I'm more like him than anybody. I bring you comfort, warmth and solace. The one and only Eric Wallace.
The department saying no secrets were given away. The hull was just balanced on a frame, with the keel safely locked away. And Lucas, ITF, Hamburg.
See you then.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5.
Roll BT.
BT 1, 1, 0.
Coming to 2, stand by 3. Good night. Coming up on Q8.
Good evening, welcome to the Midweek Look Around. The headlines tonight.